What's going on, guys, and welcome back to my Friday Night SmackDown review for Friday, December 18th, 2020. I am Graham G. Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well. I did not watch the show live last night. I paid for it. Didn't pay for the show, but I suffer the consequences of not watching live due to the fact that I watched the Ring of Honor Final Battle pay-per-view first, which was a good show. But SmackDown, which I completely forgot about, aired on FS1 last night, so my DVR did not pick up on the fact that SmackDown changed channels, so it did not record the show. So I had to go back to a different place to watch the show. It was just a mess. But I did catch up late last night, and it was a good show, better than last week, far from a great show. I wasn't left, overly excited for the TLC pay-per-view by the time the show was over, but I thought it did a decent job of not only kind of furthering the feuds going into that pay-per-view on Sunday, but also giving us some quality matches and furthering a lot of other feuds that will not be featured on Sunday, that being the stuff in the tag team division, the Riott Squad stuff I don't really give a shit about, but the Otis, Gable, Nakamura, Cesaro stuff, not among my favorite stuff on SmackDown this week, but that was furthered. Big E and Sami Zayn, Bianca Belair and Bayley, all of which I'll get into right now. One quick note, though, before we go forward, that SmackDown next week, I still believe is airing on Christmas Day, just not live. I'm obviously, I won't say obviously, just because they did do a Raw live on Christmas about 3 years ago, I think it was. Thankfully, they are not doing SmackDown live on Christmas, especially with no fans there. What's the fucking point? So they are taping it in advance, but I'm pretty sure it's still airing on Christmas night itself. So I'm not sure if I'll still have an audio review next week. I might be busy not only just watch the show next Friday, but review it the next day. I'll probably be busy on Saturday. So I'm not sure if I'll have time to review it next week. And if I don't, you're not really missing much, probably just because they're going to phone it in for a holiday show. But anyway, as far as this show is concerned, I thought it was solid. It, again, furthered a lot of feuds, a lot of talking segments on the show. And in the first two segments alone, we had Kevin Owens come out, call out Roman Reigns, call him a hypocrite, a coward. The hypocrite thing, Kevin Owens is the definition of a hypocrite, a guy who's turned face and heel a bunch of times over the last couple of years, so not really sure where that came from, but like the coward thing, is Roman Reigns, has he really been portrayed as a coward so far? The answer is no. Sami Zayn has, and other heels on this show have, but not Roman Reigns. If anything, Roman Reigns is probably the most in-your-face individual on this show, despite being a heel. So I thought that was weird, but it was a good promo. So Kevin Owens leaves. Roman Reigns then comes out, I think after the commercial break or something. So then Owens is watching his promo from the back. And Roman Reigns is cutting a promo about Kevin Owens responding to what he just said. And then KO comes out, gets his ass handed to him by both Roman and Jey Uso. So I thought it was a good opening to the show. It was a hook for the remainder of the show where... Actually, I don't think Kevin Owens came out. I think Kevin Owens was still backstage. He was looking for Roman Reigns and got his ass handed to him backstage. So that's what happened. But, this was a pretty chaotic opening to the show. That was kind of the theme throughout the entire episode as to what Kevin Owens would do to Roman Reigns if he got his hands on him. Would he get his hands on him? Would Roman Reigns and Jey Uso get the better of Kevin Owens with the odds in their favor? That was kind of like the general story they were telling throughout the show, which was a good story, but I'll get to why it didn't really work by the end of the episode in that final segment. The first match on the show saw the Street Profits knock off Dolph Ziggler and Roode to retain the SmackDown Tag Team Championships in a good match. I didn't think the result was all ever really that much in doubt. It's kind of predictable. Pretty predictable that the Profits would retain, but they should have. There really was no reason to take the belts off the Profits. So it was a good match. Montez Ford at one point did hit the amazing frog splash that he's known for and typically wins matches with. He hit the move. I think Dolph, he didn't get his knees up, but Montez, I think, hit him in the knees by accident. I couldn't really get a good view of what happened there. They showed it in the replay, but I still don't know what happened there. So that did not win them the match, as not Dolph Ziggler, he didn't kick out, but Roode broke off the pinfall. So while the match continued, the Profits had Roode and Ziggler down, and they rolled up, I think it was Ziggler, Montez Ford did, and rolled them up, grabbing the tights to retain the titles. That was weird. So by the time I'm recording this, I've already watched Talking Smack. I don't think they ever even addressed that. The fact that they cheated to win. Dolph and Roode were like, oh, why did they do that, blah, blah, blah. I really hope they're not turning these guys heel, because I think that would be incredibly dumb. First of all, there's no reason to turn them heel. They're much better as baby faces. Another thing is that they don't have any baby faces babyface teams on SmackDown to defend those titles against. Yeah, maybe Gable and Otis, maybe another makeshift team, but the two top heel teams on SmackDown right now are Roode and Ziggler and Nakamura and Cesaro, who you have to imagine are going to get another SmackDown Tag Team title opportunity at some point. So to turn the Profits heel and have three teams on SmackDown, three heel teams on SmackDown, makes absolutely no sense. So I'm really hoping that's not where this is going. And they also have the Forgotten Sons still. Sans, Jackson, Riker. But now that I think about it, Rey Mysterio, unless there was a segment that I missed, I don't think Rey Mysterio, Aaliyah, Dominic, and Corbin were on this show. Nor do they even really need to be, because they're not on the pay-per-view on Sunday. It's not one of the better feuds on SmackDown. I haven't really cared for their shit in the last couple weeks. So honestly, it probably was for the better. But yeah, I'm really hoping they're not turning these guys heel. I think that'd be incredibly dumb. But the weird thing is that the commentators didn't play it up as a heel turn. They weren't playing it up as if, oh, why would they do that? They're so dastardly. I don't approve of their actions, blah, blah, blah. They just kind of accepted it as a normal thing, unless I missed something. So, to me, it looks like they did that by design to give Roode and Ziggler an out so they can get a rematch for the titles at some point in the near future. Why? I have no fucking clue. They lost, moved the fuck on. It's probably because they have no teams. So a lot like on Raw, they have to prolong the New Day Hurt Business feud, and all the matches have been good. But when you do the same match over and over and over again, you just start to not care. Assuming you cared even in the first place, you know what I mean? So that's probably why they did it. I think there's probably a better way you could have made Ziggler and Roode look better in defeat as opposed to the Profits cheating to beat these two. It's not like they're the most credible team in the world. Yes, Roode and Ziggler are former Raw Tag Team Champions. Yes, they've been around for about a year now. But the Profits have them beat in almost every area. They've been champions almost all year. They've beaten all these other teams. The Profits are a very credible team. Roode and Ziggler, I don't know. There's really no reason to protect them in defeat unless you are going to continue the feud, which is what they're going to probably do, which is fine. I just feel like there might have been a better way to do that than having the Profits cheat, which wasn't really... It's not really in their wheelhouse. I haven't seen the Profits cheat up to this point. It's not like they're Eddie Guerrero and they cheat and they're beloved for. They never cheat. As far as from what I can remember, they don't cheat to win their matches, so I thought that was weird. For them to cheat to beat Ziggler and Roode was bizarre. But anyway, we had the Riott Squad, Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, battling and beating the duo of Billie Kay and her latest mystery partner, Tamina. So when Billie Kay, she cut a promo beforehand and she has like her resume and it says on there that she's a leader or whatever. The whole resume thing is funny. I like Billie Kay. I don't love the Iconics, but she's honestly been more entertaining on her own than she was in the Iconics. They were just fucking annoying. But Billie Kay on her own isn't bad. In the ring, she sucks. But I think Billie Kay, as many other people have said, would probably be best suited for like an assistant role. And I think I've said it here too, but like an assistant to Adam Pearce role, an assistant to the GM role. I think she would be perfect for that. I think I said that here on the show last week in reviewing last week's SmackDown. So Billie Kay cuts a promo, and again, she says that she's like, as it says on her resume, a seasoned leader, experienced leader, blah, blah, blah. And then she brings out, or she says that she has a second-generation talent as her tag team partner. I'm thinking, again, Natalya again. They fucking lost last week. Why Natalya again? And then Tamina came out, and I'm thinking to myself, yes, it can get worse than Natalya. It's fucking Tamina. Tamina and Billie Kay is a tag team straight out of hell. I mean, that is awful. The match wasn't really that bad, but Tamina is fucking terrible. I mean, at least Billie Kay can be entertaining. She's not good in the ring, but she can be entertaining. Tamina's not entertaining. She's not good in the ring. She can't talk. She literally can't really do much at all. So I thought, I was like, God, this is going to suck. Thankfully, the match wasn't really that bad. The Riott Squad won by double teaming Billie Kay and pinning her for the win. I can't say I care about the feud. I do appreciate that SmackDown has 3 different rivalries going on right now in their women's division as opposed to Raw, who has a bigger fucking women's division, and they only have 1. And no, I don't count Nikki Cross versus Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce for main event as a feud. If they're not on Raw, it doesn't matter. And Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were having a feud, and obviously that ended weeks ago. They had the match, I think because Alexa Bliss said on her Instagram that she went on vacation. That's probably why they blew that thing off so quickly without hyping that match in advance between them on Raw. But the only real feud that we have on Raw right now is Lana versus Nia Jax. And yeah, Shayna's in there and Asuka's in there, but it's all one giant storyline. There's not like different separate storylines. And for as big as that Raw women's division is, that is not good for them to only have one feud. SmackDown has a much smaller women's division, and honestly not as stacked with star power, but SmackDown has the Bayley and Bianca feud going on right now, the Carmella and Sasha feud over the SmackDown Women's Championship, and the Riott Squad versus Billie Kay. Now, granted, the Riott Squad versus Billie Kay, as I said, not the most exciting rivalry you'll ever watch from the women, but it's something. 3 different storylines for the women on SmackDown reminds me of when they had 3 different storylines for the women on SmackDown like 3-4 years ago when they first did the brand split. In late 2016, early 2017. At one point, they had like only 8 or so women. They did not have many women at all. But they had like... Didn't they have 3 women's matches at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in 2017? They had Naomi and Alexa Bliss for the SmackDown Women's Championship. They also had Mickie James and Becky Lynch, because Mickie James just came back at that point. Oh, and Nikki Bella and Natalya. So yeah, they did have 3 different women's matches on that show. And 3 different viable storylines, which was cool. But yeah, so it's one of those things where it's nice that they have more feuds. Not every single one is going to be great. I just don't give a fuck about Tamina, and I don't think this is the right role for Billie Kay. Speaking of the women's division, we had Carmella host a champagne toast with the guy that she appeared with last week, who I guess is someone from the PC. I did not know that, but they signed him a couple of months ago. I forgot what his name was. But they were out there, and Sasha Banks, of course, interrupted. The guy ran up the stage as soon as he heard Sasha's music hit. Sasha was instead in the ring with another elaborate outfit. I think her outfits look dumb, but people like, I love Sasha. I think Sasha's great. I just think what she wears, she probably wears it on purpose to look like, hey, I can afford this because I'm rich and that's just my character. I don't know. Whatever she wears, her attire just looks stupid to me. But I'm definitely in the minority on that. But I just, not that I dress like a fucking star or anything like that. She looks great. It's just the thing is that her outfits are just very questionable. But nonetheless, so Sasha goes after Carmella. She attacks her before the other guy, gets back in there and helps pay dividends for Carmella, who attacks Sasha Banks and is once again left laying. So, a good segment. There really wasn't anything said here that was groundbreaking. Carmella basically just said, hey, I'm going to beat you at TLC. I'm the best, not you. And what are you if you're not the best? What are you if you're not the boss? You're still Sasha Banks, but I'm not really sure what the point of that line was. But they just kind of go back and forth. Sasha said that she'll beat Carmella, blah, blah, blah. So it was a pretty standard segment. And got the point across, hyped up the rematch for TLC on Sunday, which should be a good match if last week's match was any indication. But as I said last week, unless they are adding a stipulation to this match on Sunday, there was no fucking reason to do Sasha and Carmella 2 weeks early, week and a half early, on SmackDown before the pay-per-view. Why did they do that? I figured, okay, I wouldn't have done that myself, but if they're going to do this, if they're going to do the match early, like 9 days before the pay-per-view, it must mean that they're going to give this match a stipulation, right? I mean, it is TLC. Is it going to be a ladder match, a tables match, a chairs match? Nope. We're not getting any of those matches this year, which I'm not heartbroken over. But you would think they would give this at least some sort of stipulation to justify, to at least explain how Sasha, because when they had the match last week, she was the one who got herself disqualified. Didn't go out of her way to get DQ'd, but she was beating the shit out of Carmella, and the referee DQ'd her. So what's stopping her from doing the exact same thing on Sunday? The very least they could have established here was that if Sasha gets herself DQ'd again on Sunday, she'll lose the championship. I usually hate those sort of stipulations, but it would make sense with the story. I'm not really sure why they didn't add that in here, because the match, I don't think it will, but theoretically could end the same way that it did last week. Wouldn't you throw in a wrinkle there? Wouldn't Carmella want a stipulation added to ensure that doesn't happen again? So I thought that was weird, but otherwise this was good. We then had Otis versus Shinsuke Nakamura, the same man who won the Royal Rumble match almost 3 years ago, a former Intercontinental Champion, SmackDown Tag Team Champion, United States Champion, NXT Champion, again, Royal Rumble winner, WrestleMania, not main eventer, but a WrestleMania headliner. He was involved in a WWE Championship match at WrestleMania a few years ago, losing to Otis in 3 minutes. The fuck was this shit? I mean, I know it was follow-up to last week's tag team win for Nakamura and Cesaro. They beat Gable and Otis. Otis got his, gave Nakamura his comeuppance here by picking up the win. The match was fucking nothing. Just wait to do it until next week. I thought there were kind of honestly too many segments on the show. I wish they would have just taken out this shit and given some of the other stuff more time. This was a 3-minute match. He won clean, too, did Otis. He beat Nakamura clean. I mean, it's hard to get much lower than that. And listen, I like Otis. He's a former Money in the Bank winner. But he should not be beating Shinsuke fucking Nakamura in 3 minutes. Cesaro, maybe just because he's been so damaged over the years. But Nakamura, whatever shred of credibility he had left as a single star, is completely gone. And I think we were watching the show last night, Alexis and I, and her brother asked me, what would it take to get Nakamura back to that level that he was at before? And I said nothing. I don't think they'll ever push this guy as a main eventer ever again. I think it was a 1 or 2 time experiment in 2017 with the Jinder thing, which fucking failed because Jinder sucked, and they should have had him beat Jinder for the WWE Championship. Jinder was terrible, is terrible, but specifically was a terrible champion. Nakamura should have beaten him at SummerSlam. He didn't. They missed the boat there. He should have won the title at some point during the AJ Styles feud, and he didn't. And after losing 7 times, 6 or 7 times, failing to win that championship, the guy was a made loser at that point. And he has never gotten back to that level, and I don't think he will. That was years ago. That was, 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago that he was in the WWE title mix. I feel like if it hasn't happened yet, it probably never will. They see him as being at a certain level, at that Cesaro level, and it's a shame just because I know Nakamura's promo ability isn't amazing. But that's not something that a manager wouldn't be able to help with. As, in a Paul Heyman or someone along those lines. I don't know. This match is kind of I know, like, if Nakamura went out to be saying, Otis had a terrible 2020, like, he lost the Money in the Bank briefcase, he lost his tag team partner, he lost his girlfriend, he's losing here to Nakamura. But at least Nakamura, I can take him seriously as beating Otis, because it just makes sense, because he should be beating Otis. Otis beating Nakamura, albeit in 3 minutes clean, it just depresses me. That just depresses the fuck out of me. We had Sami Zayn hosting the first ever and hopefully only Sami Awards. Play on the Slammy Awards, which are coming out on Wednesday. You get it. Hosted by Sami Zayn himself. This was exactly what you would expect it to be. I like Sami Zayn. This was just dumb comedy. So he comes out looking like the fucking old guy from Home Alone. Kevin McAllister's neighbor, the creepy guy that he was scared of the entire movie up until the end. I mean, he looked like a younger version of him, but that's what he looked like to me. So anyway, with the hairstyle and whatnot and the scraggly beard. So Sami comes out and says, the comeback of the year is, Sami Zayn. The match of the year, Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, and Jeff Hardy when I won the Intercontinental Championship back. The superstar of the year, is Big E. And it's because Big E wrote his name on the, on the sheet or whatever before they went out for the segment. And then he came out, did his acceptance speech, kind of pushed Sami off the stage, and that was that. So, kind of a weak way to further the feud. I know they want to hype up the Slammy Awards for Wednesday. They're not, thank God, not happening on WWE TV. Listen, I like the Slammy Awards. As a concept on TV, it was fucking terrible. The Slammy Awards were always consistently one of the worst shows of the year. First of all, because the polls were almost always rigged or didn't make any sense. And more importantly, just because it was a waste of TV time. Just do it as its own separate network special, which is exactly what they're doing on Wednesday, which I think is great. Doing it on Raw or SmackDown, it was always a Raw gimmick for like a decade. I always thought that was stupid. I always thought that was really dumb. So I'm glad we're not getting it. This, unfortunately, kind of made up for that. Wasn't very funny, but it was what it was. Big E and Sami will continue their feud. Big E will get his shot at the Intercontinental Championship at some point, and it could happen as soon as Sunday. I saw a report that said that Bobby Lashley and Matt Riddle, whatever, aren't going to be facing off for the United States Championship until the Rumble, maybe, which seems a little long to me, but that's what the report indicated. So with that being said, they might be doing another match instead, because I think there's only 6 matches advertised for the pay-per-view on Sunday as of right now. They have the 2 top title matches, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. They have Carmella and Sasha Banks, which is 4. The Raw Tag Team title match, and I thought there was another one. There definitely is another one, I just don't remember what it is. So yeah, that's the card for Sunday. And they could probably add more. They definitely will add more matches. The shows never are just 2 hours. And the TLC matches will probably be given some time. Hey, a 6-match card sounds amazing to me. But I do fully expect more matches to be added in the days to come. Speaking of matches that should be happening at TLC, we have Bianca Belair versus Bayley here. And again, a match that should have been saved for the pay-per-view on Sunday, but we got it on SmackDown. Whatever. It was a good match. I enjoyed it. I didn't like the finish. Now listen, Bianca's not going to win every match. Bayley, which I did not know up until a week or two ago, has not won a single fucking match since August. Before last night, she had not won on TV in 4 fucking months. She lost a tribute to the troops. She lost on SmackDown. She lost on Raw. She lost at SummerSlam. She lost at Clash of Champions. She lost at Hell in a Cell. She lost the fucking Survivor Series. She lost like 9 or 10 matches in a row, including one to Natalya a couple of weeks ago on the show, which was completely pointless. I still have no idea why they did that. That was so dumb to me. So Bayley loses to Natalya, and then Bayley beats Bianca here, albeit she raked the eyes and then did the Rose Plan finish, which is basically like the old, not the Dirty Deeds. The Dirty Deeds ended up being like a double-arm DDT, but it was like Dean Ambrose's original finisher, and I think EC3 did the same finisher in Impact as well. But anyway, so she hit her with the Rose Plant, and the match was over. Bayley wins. Bianca's not going to be undefeated forever, but I interviewed Bianca about a month or two ago. It was about a month ago. It was in early November. And I asked, why haven't you brought back the undefeated thing to WWE TV? You've been undefeated all year. She hasn't been pinned on the show up until last night. She lost by counting at Survivor Series, but other than that, she's been undefeated. Why hasn't she brought that back yet? She said, I'm just kind of waiting for the right moment, waiting for me to start picking up wins, which, she had for months. I didn't really understand that. She wasn't on Raw a ton, but she was on Main Event every week, and she always won her matches. She was undefeated. So I'm thinking, okay, they're going to get a streak going before they finally acknowledge that she's undefeated. Maybe Vince didn't want her doing it. I don't know. But she lost here, so she can no longer claim that she's undefeated. And it was kind of in like fluky fashion. Like, listen, I know she's going to beat Bayley ultimately. I'm not worried about that. I just would have waited to do that maybe until after she started saying undefeated, so it meant more. I don't know, it just felt like the wrong time for me for Bayley to win, even though she hasn't won a match in months. Bayley should have beaten Natalya and not got eliminated in 5 minutes at Survivor Series by Peyton fucking Royce. And I like Peyton Royce, but where the fuck has she been lately? And then after Bayley beats Natalya, Bianca beats Bayley. That's booking 101. To have Natalya beat Bayley and then Bayley beat Bianca makes no fucking sense. I've seen more logical booking in simulating general manager mode in the SmackDown vs. Raw games. That doesn't make any sense to me. But Bianca's not buried by any means. Not that anyone has said that. I'm sure they have. But at least some contingent of the internet. She's not buried by any means. She'll get the win back. I'm just saying, nitpicking for me, I would have not had her lose here, or at least have her get pinned, just so you can, obviously the feud's going to continue anyway, but just so she can claim that she's still undefeated. She's no longer undefeated. It's over. So I thought that was weird. But anyway, we get to the final segment on the show. Kevin Owens was out there once again sending another message to Roman Reigns and got beat the fuck up for his efforts. Roman Reigns comes out with Jey Uso. They beat the living shit out of the guy. Or no, I'm sorry, I think Roman was out there first. Roman was out first with Jey Uso. Kevin Owens was watching from the back. He interrupted them. The guy looks like a total moron here for getting his ass handed to him. Now listen. For Kevin Owens, I know his old gimmick is, just keep fighting. He's resilient. I think that's cool. Honestly, I like the angle. The angle came off very well. They literally buried the guy under tables, ladders, and chairs. I thought the angle came across very well. Roman looks like a fucking badass. Jey looks great. It was good. I enjoyed it. The problem with this is that if there was a shred of a chance that Owens was going to win at the pay-per-view, then I'd be like, okay, this works. The problem is that they have not made Kevin Owens out to be a threat whatsoever. Kevin Owens has looked like a complete fucking loser going into this pay-per-view. How many important matches has Kevin Owens won in the last, month or two? I think he beat Jey Uso a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember. I know he lost to him initially, I think. Yeah, he lost to him initially like a month or two ago before Survivor Series. He lost at Survivor Series, did Kevin Owens. It's not like he won a number one contenders match. He's just gotten his ass handed to him by Roman and Jey every fucking week for like a month and a half now. I don't know, it just seems weird. So then Kevin's like, after Roman and Jey leave, they literally bury Kevin Owens. They walk off to their music. And then as the show goes off the air, Kevin Owens emerges from the rubble, from the carnage, whatever, from all the shit in the ring. And he says, I'm going to take your title at TLC or I'm going to die trying. So I guess they promised a murder for TLC. If that's the hook for the pay-per-view, then job well done. That we're going to see a murder happen on live pay-per-view this coming Sunday, because I don't see any chance that Kevin Owens wins on Sunday. I mean, it's WWE. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They could book Kevin Owens to win. I just don't know why you would do that. Yeah, it's a TLC match. Roman wouldn't have to get pinned. Maybe they give Owens like a quick run with the championship before he loses it back to Roman. I guess, but like, how much is really accomplished from that? Especially when Kevin Owens is made to look like a total loser. To me, it doesn't really elevate the championship. I would just keep the belt on Roman all the way through WrestleMania. To interrupt that reign, I think would just be silly. Even though I love KO, I wanted to get another reign with the championship, but he's the right guy at the wrong time. So, I don't know. I just thought this was weird because they just proved that Owens is an idiot. Yeah, he's resilient, he's got fire, he's got intensity, but the guy's a moron for walking into a war that he knows he's not going to win. He knows he's probably going to die trying to beat Roman Reigns on Sunday. And then we know he's not going to win, so it's weird. And the match may end up changing my mind. It might be an amazing match that Owens dominates before Roman just barely ekes out the win. But I just thought that was weird. But overall, it was a good show. Was it effective in getting me more excited for the pay-per-view on Sunday than it was previously? Not really. Roman and KO have had a very good thing going lately. The match I expect to be great. We know that Kevin Owens probably isn't going to win. So I don't know if I'm any more excited for that match than I was previously. We also got the Carmella and Sasha stuff to build towards Sunday. The other 4 matches must be Raw matches. Because what is it? The New Day? It's the New Day in the Hurt Business. It's Sasha. Oh, the women's tag team title match as well. That was the other match that was advertised for the show. That Lana had to pull out of. So yeah, there's 4 matches, 2 SmackDown, which is weird because again, they have all these other SmackDown feuds with Sami Zayn and Big E. They're doing Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair and Bayley right now. They could do a rematch or the SmackDown Tag Team titles. There's a couple different matches they could do on Sunday. Daniel Bryan's been MIA for the last couple of weeks. They could have done, Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. I don't know where he's been lately. Maybe helping out. I was gonna say helping out Kevin McAllister, but Daniel Bryan doesn't look like the old guy from Home Alone anymore, from The Neighbor, as The Neighbor. It's now Sami Zayn who looks like The Neighbor and not as much Daniel Bryan. But in all seriousness, though, I thought it was a good show. The Bayley-Bianca ending was questionable. The ending to the main event segment was questionable. The Riott Squad, Billie Kay, Tamina match was pointless. Otis and Nakamura did nothing for me. So I guess it was more of a decent show. Carmella and Sasha served its purpose. Roman continues to be the star of the show. And the tag title match was enjoyable for what it was, with a weird finish. So, some weird finishes, a decent show, better than last week, but still not great. So, check out the highlights, specifically the Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Kevin Owens stuff, ahead of Sunday's TLC pay-per-view. So thank you guys, as always, for checking out my audio review of Friday Night SmackDown. My Talking Smack review should also be up momentarily, so be sure to check that out as well. Be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Be sure to check out all my other SmackDown reviews in the description box down below, and have an awesome rest of your holiday season. As I record this right now, we are 6 days out from Christmas. It's coming up quickly. Enjoy the last stretch of it as we hopefully put an end to what has been a tumultuous, to say the least, 2020. And I say hopefully because, when it turns 2021, it's not going to be perfect. But, we can only hope that it'll be at least marginally better than 2020 has been on the whole. Nonetheless, guys, have an awesome one. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews. Happy holidays, and I'll catch your ass down the road.